kauli yake Justin Muturi kutoka majengo ya bunge.
Parliamentary processes, we did not originate it, and therefore we cannot receive it or even claim to receive it because it is not ours. As was indicated by the appointing authority, the desire would be for more Kenyans to now read it, look at it, make what they feel about it. If there are any additions or subtractions that the Kenyans may wish, the document still belongs out there. It is not yet ripe to come to Parliament. And while I say this, I am fully aware that there are some propositions in that report that could lead to, suggestions to amend the current constitution, certain aspects of the constitution. But again, we haven't reached there. This is still just a report. It's it's still very embryonic by way of being a legislative document. But remember, whichever method, and the methods proposed in the Constitution for amending it, one would be through a parliamentary initiative, and the other would be through a public initiative, popular initiative from the people, just like Punguza Mizigo was, or purported to be. But as it is now, even if there are those proposals in the report, they have not been reduced into anything that one can talk about legislation. And Parliament being a place for legislation primarily, we haven't reached there. If the time comes that there is need, even if it's a popular initiative, the process again are there, collection of the 1 million signatures, taking it, doing the draft, putting the questions that may need to go to a referendum. But also, even before we get there, there would be the need to take it to the county assemblies so that you find whether the county assemblies have passed it. After that is when then it can come to Parliament in the two houses as required by the Constitution. Before that has happened, for us now, for anybody to start even arguing that this is going to be, it can be brought to Parliament. How? What is it coming to Parliament to do? Is it a white paper? Is it a government policy document? It is none. It is none of those. Until the owners of the document decide that yes, now it has reached a point when it can go to Parliament, and then of course then the procedures, both under the Constitution and under the standing orders, will then apply.
Speaker, having gone through the document, because we know that you're one of the best legal minds that we have in the country, having gone through that particular document and seen the proposals, could you probably entirely say that this will form the basis for legislation and just bring it to the House, having looked at it yourself?
There could be. There are areas which could need some legislation. But of course, a lot of them, if you look through that document, a lot of the proposals there are really by way of policies, implementation of, if it's about standards, ethics, we already have Chapter 6. If it is also about national values, in fact, we should be asking, why is it that we have not implemented some of those things that the report has already highlighted? Because they are there in the Constitution. So it is perhaps other people to look at it and say, we think that in order to implement these suggestions, this is what we have to do. Some of which are really executive in nature. It is the national executive, as well as indeed other executives in the devolved units, to pick up the report and see what it is that each can implement.
So plebiscite should be the last option.
I am not trying to prescribe one way or the other, but I think for me there's still need for more work to be done on the document, more ideas to be picked. I think when there are so many issues, how to grow the economy, that does not require legislation. it doesn't even require a referendum, because what do you go to ask people in a referendum that we need to do this to grow the economy? I mean, those are really policy matters that any elected government should be the one to do. So there are those which are really purely policy, which should be implemented without even, saying you want to go and ask the public. So what are you going to ask the public to do?
We've seen also there are some efforts that are being done by some members of parliament, including the Committee on Implementation. And they've already brought in a bill that is supposed to take care of the opposition. Are we also looking at it as, what probably now would you prescribe, you yourself, now that we've seen that efforts are there, like the one to expand the executive and introduce a prime minister, or not a prime minister, the leader of opposition to be in parliament has already been prescribed. And
Naam, bila shaka